to, for the last three, lock in and do what they were supposed to do
Sure.
and get those wins. How did you see them kind of pushing through this game?
Well, I mean, I knew it was a dangerous team because they shoot a lot of threes, and any team that shoots a lot of threes can get hot, and they certainly did that from the beginning. They only had 4 threes in the second half. That was no, my bad. They had 9 in the first half, so we held them to 7 in the second half. But we were able to not lock them down for a lot of that beginning of the second half from the 3-point line, so that was huge for us.
And obviously a huge night for Anthony Edwards, but in that third quarter, he was the one who kind of lifted you guys up with the energy that you needed, as well as becoming the 3-point champion.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a little reminiscent of the other day in Memphis. I kind of felt going in, clean up some game plan stuff. I thought we were a little loose on some game plan stuff. We made some adjustments, and guys did a good job of carrying that out to the floor. And we were able to get out and run. We got a bunch of transition stuff out of our defense, at the right time, and we needed that. So,
Chris, just from big picture perspective on how this season has gone, and to kind of come out on the other side of it, now you're in the top 6. Just what does that mean for?
I told the guys super proud of their body of work this year. We didn't make a big trade in the middle of the season to sort things out. We didn't fire coaches to try to sort things out. They sorted it out themselves. Those guys made the right adjustments and sacrifices, and figured out who they needed to be as a team. Still got a lot in front of us, but I thought all credit to those guys in there, because it mattered to them to figure it out, and we did, and they did. So.
How do you feel just in general about how you're playing going into this now, and just where the team is at?
I think we're playing pretty well. I think we gotta get some other guys get back playing to the level I think they need to. It was good to see a great game from Nas and Dante today. I think Dante shot the leather off the ball, but Nas made a lot of just hustle plays, offensive rebounds, things that you just have to do when your shot's not going in, so it's good to see those guys, and they've played well. A couple of the last few games, and they've been playing well, but not hadn't been connecting on the shots. So pretty good. Most important thing is we got a day off. Guys have been pushing super hard, mentally and physically, and we get to regroup and figure out who we play, where we play, and what the week looks like.
I think we saw it last year, but what is the value of this week versus having to go the other route and maybe play 1 or 2 games and having no rest and no preparation time?
Yeah, I think it's huge, right? I think it's definitely just for game planning purposes alone. Gives you a ton of time. Talk about what you want to do, what your plan B might be. Offensively and defensively, you don't often get the time to prepare offensively. Most game planning is focused around the defense and then sprinkle in some offense. So, I know a couple years ago when we played Denver and coming out of that play-in tournament, we got walloped in the first game. We're spent, mentally and physically spent. And it really kind of took us until late in the second game to really kind of find our feet again. So yeah, I think it's huge. Really, really valuable.
Was there intentionality about getting the ball inside in the second half? Was that the message?
Yeah, we shoot the ball really well from 3, but we also have to recognize when they don't have rim protection, and we got to keep going there and go there, and whether it be on the roll, on the drive. And so, we talked about that at halftime.
And there are obviously reasons for it, but you often start games, not the first shot, but generally the first group of possessions, shooting a lot of threes.
Yeah.
Is that something you think translates well to the playoffs? Matters on the matchup?
I think, of course, you'd like to be aggressive, but I thought the threes we took tonight were open for the most part. but we do have to understand like where we always have an advantage, or when we do have an advantage, like going to the rim. So we talked about that at the first time out too. So
A lot of young players on the team, but this is going to be like their third or fourth playoff series for some of them. Just what does the experience do, especially when you have kind of the muscle memory of what the preparation looks like and heading into a first round series?
Yeah, I think a couple things. One is we should feel comfortable in this atmosphere. Coming into the playoffs last year, like we were a little bit concerned about how Nas Jaden would play, and because they had missed with injuries the year prior. Now they've got that experience, played really well through the playoffs last year. So it's equally important for the guys who are, at the end of the bench, you're going to run the scout team, that they get locked in and get us prepared by, knowing what our opponent is going to do and how they're going to do it. So it's a group effort all the way 1 through 18 when you are preparing and playing in the playoffs. So.
As well as last year went for your team.
Pardon?
As well as last year went for your team, I'm wondering if you think this team has any advantages over last year's in terms of depth or overall talent.
I don't know. It's certainly hard to compare sometimes, but I do like. I think we've been comfortable playing with the 8+1 rotation basically all year. That's kind of what the playoffs look like. So I think guys will be comfortable in their roles. We might have to adjust as the playoff series unfolds. Last year with our size, we were very different, but there were certain matchup issues at times that we also had to try to compensate for. This year, I feel like defensively might be a little bit more, versatile, and also some on-demand scoring too. I think, so I don't know. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But
Chris, what's the value of familiarity in a playoff series if you're playing a team that you've played a bunch or a team that maybe you haven't seen at all?
Yeah, I think, it's huge. I mean, I don't know, we know Denver so well. As an example, we've played them in excess of 20 times. So, of course, you're going to know people. Whenever you get into a playoff series with a team, you learn a lot about them quickly. I mean, and things that you didn't necessarily have to the forefront of your mind. That's how we feel about Dallas too. But you got to throw the regular season out the window. Familiarity can help, but as we saw last year in the Phoenix series, people can reverse course on you, and so it's a whole new ball game, whole nother season. Thanks.